I never thought I'd have to deal with fake cops showing up at my doorstep, especially not on my own ranch. But that's exactly what happened when the local HOA Karen decided I didn't fit the neighborhood vibe. Yeah, because owning land, minding my business, and keeping things peaceful apparently makes me a problem in her perfect little world. It all started when I refused to cut down a few old oak trees on my property. She claimed they were a visual disturbance. Next thing I know, she's banging on my gate with two guys in knock-off uniforms, flashing cheap badges, and telling me I need to leave my ranch. Now, it's what she didn't know. I don't just live out here. I train real law enforcement officers. So those fake cops, yeah, let's just say they were in for a surprise. But I played it cool. I wanted to see just how deep this scheme went, and trust me, it gets wild. She thought she could intimidate me, but she had no clue who she was messing with. So when they tried to serve some phony eviction notice, I smiled, stepped back, and let the truth unfold. You're not gonna believe how far she went to try and kick me off my own land, and how badly it backfired. Now, let me back up a bit so you really understand what I was dealing with. This all started a few months ago, when I bought this quiet little ranch just outside the city. I wanted space, fresh air, and a break from all the noise. But apparently, peace and quiet isn't what the HOA president, who I now just call Karen, had in mind. From day one, she had an issue with everything. My truck was too loud. My dog looked aggressive. Even my American flag was too big. No joke, she left a typed-up complaint about the flag. At first, I tried to be neighborly. I smiled, waved, kept to myself. But she kept pushing, showing up unannounced, snapping pictures from across the fence, writing fake violations like I was part of some reality show. Then came the anonymous letters, stuff like, "You don't belong here, and we can make this hard for you." Yeah, real subtle. But the day she crossed the line was when those two fake officers pulled into my driveway, acting like they had the authority to remove me. Their badges looked like they came from a costume shop, and they couldn't even name the county sheriff. Still, they acted like they were in charge. That's when I knew something way bigger was going on, and it wasn't just Karen. So I started digging. I wanted to know who these guys were and how they ended up on my property pretending to be law enforcement. I checked the plates on their car. Nothing came up. The uniforms were a weird mix of different agencies, like they Googled cop outfit and just pieced it together. But here's the part that really threw me. They had some kind of document that looked like an eviction notice, with a fake court seal and everything. Problem is, my name wasn't even spelled right on it. Sloppy, but still serious enough to raise concern. I talked to a buddy of mine in the sheriff's department, and the minute he looked at their badges, he just shook his head and said, "Nope, not ours." That's when it got real. This wasn't just a neighborly dispute. It was turning into a full-blown impersonation case. But when I tried reporting it, things got weird. The HOA's legal rep suddenly sent me an official-looking letter claiming I was violating community standards by investigating their board members. They tried flipping it on me. Meanwhile, a few other neighbors, quiet folks who'd been living here way longer than I had, started warning me in hushed tones. One of them told me, "You're not the first person she's done this to." That's when I realized this wasn't personal, it was a pattern. Once I realized this was bigger than just me, I started keeping notes, dates, times, faces, everything. I even installed cameras around the property because I had a gut feeling things were about to escalate. And I was right. One night around 2 a.m., my motion sensor lights kicked on. I checked the feed, and there they were. The same two guys who tried to evict me were back, standing just outside the gate, talking to someone in a dark SUV. I couldn't hear what they said, but I saw one of them hand over a manila envelope. That's when I knew this wasn't just harassment, it was a setup. The next day, Karen called an emergency HOA meeting. I wasn't invited, obviously, but I showed up anyway. Public property, they couldn't keep me out. The room went quiet when I walked in. The board members shifted in their seats, and Karen didn't even look at me. But I could feel it, the pressure, the panic. They were hiding something. When I asked about the impersonators, she claimed she had no knowledge of them. But her voice cracked just a little. That was all I needed. Then came the letter taped to my door, unsigned, but crystal clear. Back off, or we'll finish what we started. That was the moment I knew I had to act. Whatever they were planning next, it was coming fast. 2 days after that letter showed up, everything took an unexpected turn. I was reviewing some of the security footage from the night those guys came back, and that's when I noticed something I'd missed before. The dark SUV. It had a parking permit on the dash for the same HOA. I zoomed in, cleaned up the frame, and sure enough, it matched the permit style used by board members. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just Karen acting alone. Someone else on the board was involved, maybe even leading it. So I started asking around quietly. One neighbor, an older gentleman who's lived here since the 90s, finally opened up. He told me HOA had a history of pushing out homeowners who didn't fall in line. Mysterious violations, sudden fines, even property damage that never got investigated. He said a young couple tried to take them to court a few years back and vanished from the neighborhood almost overnight. No one talks about it. No one asks questions. Then came the real twist, one of the fake cops. I spotted him again, this time out of uniform, working as security at a local HOA-sponsored event, just walking around like nothing happened. And when our eyes met, he smirked, like he knew the game wasn't over. In fact, it was just heating up. I knew I couldn't just sit back anymore, so I made a few calls, quiet ones, to people I trust in law enforcement, real officers, people I've trained. Within a couple of days, we had a game plan. I handed over all the footage, the fake documents, the license plate stills, even the HOA meeting audio I managed to record. Turns out, impersonating law enforcement is a serious offense, especially when paired with harassment and conspiracy to intimidate a homeowner. The real officers showed up at the next HOA board meeting, undercover at first. They waited until Karen and 2 other board members started discussing a final notice they planned to deliver to me. That was all they needed. Within minutes, they stepped in, badges out, and the room exploded. Karen tried to play innocent, but the evidence was overwhelming. The fake eviction, the hired impersonators, even the forged HOA documents, all traced back to her and a shady side deal with a private security contractor. Just when I thought it was over, one of the officers pulled me aside. He said the private security company wasn't just working this neighborhood. They were under investigation in 2 other states for similar HOA-related intimidation cases. That's when I realized I hadn't just uncovered a neighborhood scam. I'd stumbled into a much bigger operation. And yeah, I'm not done yet. After the arrests were made, the entire neighborhood started to shift. People who'd been too scared to speak up finally came forward. Turns out, I wasn't the only one Karen and her crew had targeted. The young couple who'd vanished a few years back. They were forced into selling their home after months of harassment and fake violations. With the investigation open now, their case, and others, are finally being looked at. The HOA is being restructured, and the security firm involved. Their license has been pulled pending federal charges. As for me, I'm still here on my ranch, flag waving, dog running free, and oak trees still standing tall. I got a formal apology from the county and even a few thank yous from neighbors I'd never even met before. Looking back, it started with one nosy HOA Karen, but it led to exposing something much deeper. It was never about noise complaints or tree lines. It was about control, money, and silence. After the arrests were made, the entire neighborhood started to shift. People who'd been too scared to speak up finally came forward. Turns out, I wasn't the only one Karen and her crew had targeted. The young couple who'd vanished a few years back. They were forced into selling their home after months of harassment and fake violations. With the investigation open now, their case, and others are finally being looked at. The HOA is being restructured, and the security firm involved. Their license has been pulled pending federal charges. As for me, I'm still here on my ranch, flag waving, dog running free, and oak trees still standing tall. I got a formal apology from the county and even a few thank yous from neighbors I'd never even met before. Looking back, it started with one nosy HOA Karen, but it led to exposing something much deeper. It was never about noise complaints or tree lines. It was about control, money, and silence. If there's one thing I've learned from all this, it's that standing your ground, especially when you know you're right, can shake more than just a crooked board. It can spark real change. And sometimes, the quietest folks turn out to be the loudest voices when it counts.